Hi, welcome to Sarah Appreciates. I'm Sarah, and if you're new here, well, thanks for viewing, and if you're not new here, thanks for coming back. I got a really nice message the other day from one of my viewers saying, like, where have you been? I'm sorry I haven't made a video in a while, but I'll explain in this video what I've been up to. First, I was taking off Ibrance last August, which is the targeted therapy drug that I use that they have me on to treat my stage 4 breast cancer. And then they left me on the hormone therapy so that I was still fighting the cancer through that breast reduction surgery that I had in August. We expected that I would be off of Ibrance for like a month or two, but there was a complication after the surgery where there was in each breast, there's like across, pretty much almost across my whole chest, underneath each breast, there's a big scar that goes like from one side to the next. And then in the middle of that scar, there's another scar that goes up where the nipple was. And that intersection where those two scars met, that didn't want to heal. And so again, they kept me off of Ibrance to help that heal faster, but it was going so slow. And they kept telling me this is a really uncommon thing that happens, but we do see it. And, you know, this is, so they continued to they would stimulate it sometimes, like to make it sting more so that it would increase the healing or something like that. And so just when it started healing up and it finally closed, I started feeling tired and more tired. And then my right side, the breast on my right side, it got like so fast. It got really big. It got over twice the size of I'm a C cup now. So it got about twice the size of my other breast, at least. It turned rock hard. And it got sort of a purplish, reddish hue. And it started to bruise very badly. And I noticed it because I was hitting it with my arm like this. So I went to look at it, and that's because I hadn't been spending a lot of time in front of the mirror yet because that wound wasn't closing. So I was in the habit of not really looking at them. So I looked at it and it was changing colors and it was starting to hurt, but I kind of do this thing where pain, because I have abdominal adhesions that cause severe pain. So a lot of times, a lot of the work I've done in my life on myself, like therapy-wise and so forth, has been dealing with pain management. So I do the thing where, you meditate and you think of the pain as like volume and you turn down the volume. Like if your pain is noise, how noisy it is, it's more painful. The more distracting the noise of the pain. So the noisier the pain, like the more you can't take your mind off of it, the worse, the more severe it is, right? Because if it's a little pain, you can ignore it. You can go throughout your whole day if it's just a little headache. But if it's a severe headache, you keep thinking about it. It keeps taking you out of your work. You keep having to rub it. And then eventually you get to the point where you can't look at light or whatever. I guess I'm describing a migraine, but the more a condition or a pain starts to get in your mind, I guess, the more severe it probably is how I judge it. And so then I was taught to think of pain like volume to a radio or to a TV. And that when it's too distracting, you're trying to have another conversation, you're trying to do other things, like talk on the phone. You want to turn that volume down, and pain is very similar to that. So sometimes for short periods, I don't want to say that this is something I can use to help me sleep. I don't know how to achieve that when I'm sleeping, but it can help, like if I'm going through like a really painful test where they're poking and prodding, or having an IV that's difficult, to do. I try to lower the volume on that pain. So anyways, this was definitely getting beyond that. And there was a lot of pain, and it was getting hot and warm to the touch. And then I started getting hot and warm to the touch. And I had called the plastic surgery clinic because they were in charge of all my healing and stuff going on with my chest. And, again, I was the first stage 4 cancer patient that they had ever seen to give a breast reduction. So this was all kind of a plan that we came up with together. So anyway, when I called the plastic surgery place, they took kind of a wait and see approach. It was, well, you have an appointment next week. Let's wait and see how you doing next week. Because I told them it's really big and it's getting hard and it's red and it's kind of looking bruised. And she said, well, let's see how it looks next week. Well, that weekend, I think I encountered like what a fever dream is, because I was like, I remember waking myself up at one point, and this was like in November. So I've been off medication then from August, like for almost 4 months at this point. So that weekend I got so sick and I was sleeping a lot, and they had increased my pain medication to help with it, which helped me sleep a lot. But I was having dreams that my husband was leaving because I was so sick, and he was like, if this is how life is going to be, I'm out, which is not how he is in real life at all. I think it was tapping into just my insecurities and stuff. But I woke up at one point because I was dreaming that I was like, I don't know, like fading away or something. And I remember waking myself up at one point because I was saying in my sleep, how am I still here? And Jerry was there like petting my hair, and he was like, what? And I was just so grateful that he was still there, and I just started crying, and it was sick like I've never been. I was having like I don't know. Anyway, we got to Monday and he got me to, at that point I was just going to, Sarah, we're going to the doctor. Okay. I was going through the motions. He took me to the doctor, and they numbed it, and they did an ultrasound with it before they numbed it. They did an ultrasound. They found 2 pockets of pus. I'm sorry. Forever that was in your mind now. Inside, but deep. So they couldn't just get to it. So they had to make an incision, a small, like it was like maybe that long, but a deep incision. And then they had to press, and all, like a whole bunch came out. It was all this fluid. And he sent a big, thick syringe of it to the lab, and then sent me home. I was drenched on this side. I was wet from them compressing. They got so much fluid out. I was wet down to my ankles on that side. But we drove home, and I changed clothes, did laundry, and I went on an antibiotic. And then it tested positive for staph. But I'm allergic to Bactrim, which is a sulfa antibiotic. And so like 2 or 3 antibiotics later, they had me try sulfa with Benadryl, because they were like, well, how allergic? Like, what kind of reaction did you have? And I said, well, I got a rash. And they're like, okay, so just take Benadryl with it. I'm like, all right. So by the end of that week, I was feeling better as far as my brain wasn't as cloudy. I could do things. It was still painful. But it was clear that, what they had expressed out of my breast, from that cut, and then they stitched it back up. But they had put in a pump. They had put in a drainage tube. So it was feeling a lot better, and I was getting better, but it wasn't like, I was feeling okay, but I still had very low energy. I was still very tired. I didn't really have much of a well, the fever kind of came and went. I didn't think I had much of a fever, but they said, like, when I went, because I was going to the doctor about twice a week at that point. And my husband and my mother-in-law were taking me to the doctor, the plastic surgery clinic. So I was starting to kind of lose faith in these people, but I didn't want to switch doctors in the middle of all of this because they kind of knew what was going on. And again, this is a first-time thing nobody had heard of really being done before. I mean, if you've heard of something, please let me know. I mean, leave a comment. I would love to know if anyone else has experienced something like this. But anyway, long story short, really long story short, this did not, nothing was working. It was antibiotic-resistant. Or maybe we let it go for too long. Or maybe this coulda, shoulda, woulda. They have no idea how I got the infection. They don't, I mean, they were seeing me plenty. They don't think that it got infected from dirtiness, because it was too deep inside. It wasn't the wound that got infected. It was after the wound had already closed. It wasn't the wounds it was up here. That was nowhere near the wounds. So, and it was really deep inside. So, and they said that would be really, really rare. We've never heard of this before. Not never heard of it, but they were like surprised because they're like, we never see an infection like this 2 months after surgery. That's crazy to have an infection like this 2 months after surgery. But here I am, or there I was at the time, like still off of Ibrance, still taking my pills. And I started showing up with wrist braces on because my wrists were in pain at times. And I remember the plastic surgeon asked me at one point, what's that about? And I said, I don't know. I'll figure it out after this is over, but I think I've got some kind of repetitive motion thing going on in my hands. And okay. And so they did surgery to clean out they had to cut open and go into those pockets with an ultrasound guided whatnot. They had to put me under and I had to have another surgery. And then it wasn't as big of a deal. It wasn't as involved of a surgery as the breast reduction itself. This was a small incision. They went in through the bottom because it was easier to get to everything. And then they sent me home then with the sulfa, the Bactrim. And they finally, after about a week, 7 days, we were on the phone and I had called him over, I think it was over a weekend. He was off, so I had to get a hold of him on call. And I said, listen, I feel better. I feel great. But I woke up this morning and the backs of my legs are covered in hives and I can't stop itching. And some of them, I mean, it was crazy. And he's like, okay, how many do you have left? And I told him and we went through all that and just get off of it. It's fine. So I've been off the antibiotics now since like late November, early December, something like that. And they put me back on Ibrance. Like at this point, I think my oncology team was just like, just do it. Just go back on Ibrance. They were like, they were getting nervous, I think. So I got back on Ibrance and I figured, okay, all this is done. So now I can focus on what's wrong with my hands. You'll notice no makeup. My hands are not done. My fingernails are not done. Because it hurts. And so many of my arts and crafts projects have just come to just a grinding, slow pace. But look, I've got button molds and I've got silicone and these doohickeys so that I can make my own silicone molds so I can do truly unique things. And I want to sell those things. I've been working on like a website. Well, it's a buy me coffee thing. I can put the link down below, but it's really not open to anything yet. But wanted to start making things like my dominoes, for example, to sell on the site. And so these, I did the backings of these dominoes. I don't know if you remember these. Do you remember me showing you these on previous videos? I hope that shows up. This really sparkles also. I mean, not so much that it makes your eyes go crazy. I just have a few touch-ups on these, and I gotta do the sides still. I don't know how many hours I put into these, but I finally put the backings on. And so they all have this music note, the treble clef backings. Yeah, and then you flip them over, and they're beautiful inside. And I just wanna kind of straighten out any little nicks I've got there and try to figure out if I want to fill in the sides or not. Anyway, but yeah, this is all, well, this is the same musical note that I used in here, the confetti notes, but I painted over it and I sealed it into the epoxy. So it's a 3D kind of thing. It's like an embossed effect. So it's kind of cool. I love these, and I don't know how many hours I spent on these. I wouldn't even know how to price these at this point, but eventually they'll be for sale on my, cause I ordered bags for them to go in, for the different sets that I'll be making, but I'm very excited about these. I think that they're cute. So anyway, on that note, so my hands, there's different things going on in each hand. So I'm dominant with my right hand. So this hand hurts here, and it goes onto the back of my hand, and it hurts here, like this, I don't know, it's called the Mound of Venus when I used to do palmistry, and here, and here, and it wraps onto the back of my hand. And sometimes it goes up my arm, like in the forearm on top here. And if you know anything about that, that's maybe a repetitive thing, or it could be other stuff, and we'll discuss that. And this hand is very different. This hand, I feel like these 3 fingers feel like they're capped really tight by something, and sometimes it burns and feels like hot wax, and sometimes it goes completely numb. And now it's starting on the thumb too. And then sometimes it hurts, the whole fingers hurt, and down here it even hurts. My toes, this is starting to happen too. And then lately it's been going on the back of my hand too. And it's making it difficult. At first I had noticed it was difficult to sign my name, like just my signature. And now it's just about everything I do with my hands. And it's getting really frustrating. Anyway, the things it could be. I have notes. So one of the things that it could be, so they took me off, and since I'm back on my eye brands now, these are frustration tears, not pain tears. But now that I'm back on my eye brands, they took me off of the letrozole and anastrozole because one is known to make it painful in one way, and one is known to make tendons painful, one is bone pain, and anyway, they're taking those off to rule out that it's those side effects. It could be tendon problems, like I said, repetitive motion injury, like carpal tunnel stuff. It could be that sometimes during a breast surgery, there might be a pinched nerve, because a pinched nerve, because they're rolling you on one side and then working, and then they roll you back on the other side and work. And in that, you can accidentally maybe pinch a nerve. And then the last thing that I know of that it could be is cancer spread. And it would be really, really rare. Really rare. Not unheard of, but really, really rare. And guess who's the queen of rare? Rare medical crap that never happens. But like my infection and all these things that have gone on. But what would be really rare is if it spread to my brain, because I'm HR positive. That means my hormone receptor, estrogen positive. So my estrogen receptor works with, you know, like hormone treatment and blah, blah, blah. But typically HR positive cancers, that it doesn't spread to the brain or whatever. She was explaining to me in one of my meetings with oncology. She said that would be really, really rare. So on the 24th, I have an appointment on the 25th to see her again. But on the 24th of this month, so January, this is the month of my 4th anniversary of when I got diagnosed with cancer. So it's been 4 years now. So it could be in my head. It could be also in my neck. It could be a pinched nerve. So that'll show up on the scan. So I'm getting an MRI on the 24th. I'll see her for the results on the 25th. And then we'll find out more. And so there's the whole don't worry, don't think about it, try to stay distracted. But this, sometimes I wake up and this hand is on fire. Like this hand, my left, I'm glad it's my left and not my right. But my left hand hurts so bad, and yet then it goes numb. That's kind of why I haven't been making many videos. But the other thing, I've been trying to do more of this epoxy stuff, and I got buttons I want to start selling. And then for Valentine's Day, I got ring molds, and I got a thing to measure our fingers. And I'm going to make Jerry and I wedding rings. And you can even make, I have stuff to make them look metallic. So they'll look like metal, but they'll be silicone. So that'll be cool. And to cast silicone in a silicone mold, you need like a release spray, which I got. So you just spray it really good with the release spray so that the silicone doesn't just attach itself to the silicone and become one thing. So anyway, I'll be measuring our fingers and then doing that. And then what I got for that are these. I can cast ring boxes. So I can cast a box to match the rings. I'm so excited about that. Okay, so these are my little projects I'm so excited for. Because then when it's all done, ta-da, I got this to cast our hands. I don't know if you can see that on the thing. But this is a kit to do your hands in like a plaster, or we can do it, well, I'm going to probably do it in silicone and then fill it, you know, well, we'll fill it with the stuff that this came. I think it's powdered. I think this is probably a powder thing to mix. So yeah, this is going to be fun. So that's what we're going to do for Valentine's Day this year. So anyway, I'm excited for that, because sometimes beating anxiety and scan anxiety and worry just means keeping busy and making plans and just keep planning for the future. This is, you know, I'm planning a trip to visit my friend in Australia in late March, early April. And he said, gosh, I want this, you know, I want to help you get this solved before your trip, or you might not want to go. And I said, well, either my hands are going to hurt here or my hands are going to hurt there, you know? What's the difference? So I'd rather not miss out and wait. I think I can manage. But yeah, I have, you know, I've been dropping things. I almost dropped dinner, putting it in the oven, taking things out of the oven. I have to be very careful because I lose my grip with this hand without realizing it, because I can't tell wet from dry on my fingertips. I can't tell wet, dry, hot, cold, bumpy, smooth, rough. I can't tell textures, which is really hard when I'm working with stuff like this, because sometimes you want to feel how smooth something is. And I can't do it with this finger anymore, which was habit for me. I work with this finger and then feel with this finger, and then file with this finger and feel. And I have one good hand for that. So yeah, that's crazy. I didn't expect that. Nobody expected that. Nobody expected any of this. I was supposed to have that surgery, that breast reduction surgery, and I was supposed to be new shirts and new bras and giddy by now, you know, planning my trip and all happy and carefree, back on Ibrance, back on everything, and just living my life. Because I'm not sick. I'm living with cancer. I'm managing it. And just because it's stage 4, breast cancer has a lot of solutions nowadays that it didn't have before. So I'm grateful for that. But then the other thing that's really stressing me out, and I didn't want to make a video about this. I'm not going to make a whole video about this. I'm just going to add it to this one. I know we're getting long, but it's been a while, so I don't care. We need to talk about this election thing, because okay, so I'm an independent voter. I don't belong to any party. I'm probably left-leaning, but I also have some right-leaning issues that I agree with. I'm just kind of an all-around, you know, live and let live kind of person. But in this past Iowa caucus, it looks like Donald Trump is going to get the Republican nomination. And I used to vote kind of carefree, willy-nilly, colorful ballots. I liked red and blue, and then over here some green, you know, like, it's just, and now I pay a lot more attention, and I study, not study, but I look into each of the candidates, and I vote independent, and I have past trauma from abuse, like SA, they call it. So I have a problem with like abuse when you talk about stuff that happened in the past. There are things you can't talk about like in videos like this, because they'll be, you know, censored or taken down or considered that's too much information. And so there's big swaths of my past I can't even discuss. And it doesn't make polite dinner conversation, you know. It's just too much for people, and these past traumas and stuff. And so I would love to, you know, widen the circle of awareness. But I think that's going to be like discussing the trans thing and discussing the gay thing. I think that people don't want to hear from certain sectors of the community. People don't want to hear from certain parts of the population. And this is one of those parts, because I deal with mental illness, and I have for a long time, most of my life, and not just my adult life. So, you know, there's a guy that keeps winning, and like Trump has been recorded bragging about SA, right? We know what we're talking about, right? It's the, it's basically assault, and it's a violent thing, and it hurts women. It hurts whoever it happens to, if whether you're a man or a woman or a boy or girl, it hurts. It's shocking. Sometimes because he thinks it's because he's a celebrity, but no, it's because of the surprise of it, because people aren't normally monsters. So when you encounter a monster, some of us have that fight, flight, or freeze. Some of us freeze. And he thinks that that's permission. And it's not. And I can't believe that so many people are enabling this. And he's back in court right now with a woman that a court said, yes, he did that to her. He committed that crime and awarded her $5 million that he's not paying. And who's going to make him? Who'll make him? And then he turns it into a political thing. Every time he does anything wrong, he doesn't want to be punished because it's a political thing. Oh, there's just witch hunt is coming after me. Like you can't punish him for anything that he does wrong. And he's known to do this. He brags about it. And he thinks it's funny. It's locker room talk. I don't know. My father-in-law, my stepdad, maybe my dad that was an alcoholic. I think of him when I think of that. He was an alcoholic and he was abusive and he left, but he was a cruel person. That's the kind of person that does the locker room talk crap. No, the people that I know and love, the men in my life, don't have that problem. And I've asked around, and they could tell me, because I'm not easily shocked. And I'm not easily offended. I'm the person who defended cuties. I mean, I can't believe that the guy who is this proud, bragging assault person's offender is winning over the guy that gave us the Violence Against Women Act. And why? Because Biden stutters, and so he sounds older. They're the same age. Personally, I think they're both a little, they should be maybe more in advisory positions. I think that due to their health and due to just technology and modern problems and the up-and-coming generations know what they need. And I think some of these people are really out of touch with the common people. He thinks you need to show ID to get Cheerios at a grocery store. You know, like, he doesn't understand pumping his own gas. He doesn't understand taking care of his own kids. He doesn't understand how a family works. He doesn't understand how a domestic life is. He doesn't understand cooking your own dinner. He doesn't understand just the day-to-day life that most people, the majority, he can't even fathom it. And he's going to make decisions on our health care and on the laws regarding assault and on the laws regarding, like, hate crimes. And I like to watch true crime because I like the part where the guy gets caught and gets justice. And I do that for my own peace of mind because my perpetrator is in prison for life. I testified from a hospital room across the state. So my doctor excused me from going to court because they said it would do more harm than good. So my testimony came from my hospital room. And I was 13. So when we put these people in power, these people like Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan, you know, the Democrats, again, I'm not a part of their party, but what I see is like when Al Franken took inappropriate pictures, he didn't even touch anybody. He took inappropriate pictures and he was let go. He was told he had to go. There's the door. Perfect. Anthony Weiner, same thing. You're weird. Go. You gotta go. No more dick pics. And then we get to Matt Gaetz. He can stay. Jim Jordan, he can stay. Boebert, she can stay. You know, touching people in the middle of like a children's thing. You know, just, it was like a children's play or whatever. I don't understand what we're doing. I don't understand how people, their conscience, I don't care about the economy. I don't care. If we can't all agree that SA is bad, SA stands for sexual assault. And I'm sorry I said it there, but, you know, maybe it'll drag me down in the algorithms. Whatever. I'm not looking to get, you know, internet famous. I make this for friends and family. But I'm just saying, you know, it's like anybody, this isn't about party. Anybody else, Nikki Haley, you know, anybody else, literally, she, you know, find someone that's not a rapist. Find someone that doesn't get off on hurting people. Find someone that wasn't friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Because he wasn't just a name in that book. They were friends. They partied together. There's like video footage of it. Please, please, please. I mean, I don't think I got diagnosed in January 2020 when COVID hit and Trump was downplaying it. And he killed countless untold people because he chose to downplay COVID and make it seem like it was, oh, no big deal. His own people. were dying while he was still having parties. And he was mocking the world. He's going to take us out of NATO. But civilians, like civilian U.S. citizens, died on home soil because he was having fun downplaying it. And then I got diagnosed stage 4 on April 2nd, 2020, while there was like toilet paper shortages. And people were mocking each other for wearing masks. I was starting therapy for the first time, my targeted therapy. I was going on hormone therapy too. While Trump was making the speech, well, maybe you could, inject bleach or, like disinfectant. And ha ha ha, like a joke, I mean, I can track instance by instance based on the date he gave. I was going through something like an assault. And then he decided to shut down the mail service that was delivering my pills. It's not anymore. But at the time, the mail service that was delivering my medications for cancer. And he was trying to make it so that mail-in ballots wouldn't work. And that was the only way I could vote because I was told not to go in public places. So I could only vote from a send-in ballot. I was sick. And my immune system was being compromised on top of it. I had to form a bubble around my house of who could come in. So yeah, and I have family members that are going to vote for him. Where's the solidarity in that? Like, what would it harm us if we had, she would still be advised by Trump. What would be the harm in just somebody else that isn't hurting people? Why can't we, it was supposed to be like the Family Matters party, and he was out sleeping with a, porn star while Melania was home pregnant. Like, what? I mean, my parents that raised me, they're Republicans, and I'm just like, everything I heard about Bill Clinton for like 20 years. He served for 8 years, and I heard for the next 20 years how dirty and scuzzy he was and what a horrible person, and no family values and all this stuff, and a marriage of convenience with him and Hillary. And now they're voting for the guy that was best friends with Clinton at the time. I was raised not to think, this behavior is wrong and it's bad and anyway. Okay, so I'm done with that. Anyway, that's a real concern of mine, is that I don't know what's going to happen if that happens again. If he's in office again, I feel like I don't have a place anywhere except at home, because I have Jerry. So our caretakers are special people, and we need to celebrate them. And he does such a good job taking care of me. And I'm so grateful. And he is so gentle and so amazing and so sweet. And I don't deserve it, but it's freely given. And the way he takes care of me was such genuine concern. I'm so moved. I'm so in love. I feel like I keep falling in love with him, deeper in love with him, just day by day, just every day. And I love his mother because she made him who he is. And his dad, I'm so grateful to be with him and to have been. And these are the things that really matter the most. And that's where we belong, is with those kinds of people. We need to fill our world with the kinds of people who do have solidarity. We need to, maybe some of the people that are fostering cruelty, maybe we need to leave them behind, because they're not going to change. We've talked to them. You've probably done the same with, your own issues. But when you get to a point with people that they're not going to change, and they're not moved. And even if they're relatives, that just people that are not moved by your pain, they're just going to keep whatever. I've been there. I've been that person. And I could just shoot myself for it looking back. The hindsight, right? Is it worth it? Is it worth losing your family and friends to go back into that kind of thing? Like, he bragged. They'll let you do anything if you're famous. You can get away with it if you're famous. And the way he denies rape, like, she's not pretty enough. She's not my type. Like, that never stopped anybody. That never stopped anybody. Not the nursing home people that abuse nursing home victims. There's anyway, sorry. My point is that people who have like some kind of, even if they don't agree with you on everything, that solidarity that that no matter what, there's this, they're not going to always side with you. They'll tell you if you're wrong. But on certain issues like assault, they're going to stand up and they're going to do what's right. And that matters. And I'm grateful for that too. There's people that have been in my life since I've had cancer, because I was shutting people out due to my depression from before. And I've come a long way in that, like my depression treatment. And that sense of belonging and feeling like a peace with where I'm at, and a calm, and I don't know why, but the thought of someone so wrong messing up that calm, it really does mess up that calm. And it's kind of like the pain in the volume thing, when something gets intolerable and you can't turn the volume down. This is like that. This was like that. And I need to let it go. It's not in my control. I can vote, and that's it. But I will have my home, and I will have my Jerry, and I will have our puppies, and I'll be safe here. For now, because I have this weird disease. It's a terminal illness, but people are living like 20 years with it. Heather Jost just celebrated her 25th cancerversary, and she's triple negative, which is a more severe situation with breast cancer. So I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say as far as like ending this video or whatever. I'm sorry it took so long. It's a long video. Thank you for still watching. But yeah, that's what's going on with me. And if you don't hear from me in the next couple of weeks, it's because I got scan anxiety, and I'm going to wait on those scan results before I make another video maybe. And there's been a blizzard here, so we've just been hunkering down mostly. Jerry's been going to work, but we've been mostly hunkering down, and it got below 0 today, Fahrenheit temperature wise. Yeah, it's cold. So don't want to go outside anyways. But this is, times like this when we feel vulnerable are a good time to just be gentle and to be kind to ourselves and others. And with that, I'll end the video because it's very long, but thank you for watching. And I hope that if you can relate to any of this, if you like anything on my channel, please subscribe. And, if you have any thoughts, please leave them below in the comments. I do read them all. And I try to respond at this point to whatever comments I get. So anyway, I'll see you soon, and I'll be back. So don't worry about me. And for now, I'll see you later. Bye. I have a doctor's appointment today, but there's kind of a snowstorm going on. I think we can make it. We're gonna try, I think. I'm asking Jerry if he thinks we can make it.